Strike one. Strike one already.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ramblers, and welcome back to Ramblestream number, what is it now? 79? We're at 79? 79. We got another great program for you this evening. Happy Easter to everyone. This evening, what do we got? The program is maps, navigation.
Do you even need a GPS on a motorcycle, Richard?
Like the clickbait title, right?
It's not clickbait. That's a question that I'm asking. I'm wondering. I'm curious.
Okay. Well, we'll be rambling about that. So if you've got any thoughts or your own opinions on that, be sure to post them up in the comments. We love to see them, and we'll be engaging with them. So
very engaging this morning. This morning.
Yeah, this morning.
This eve. Got Semtech in here. Hey everyone, hope you all had a great weekend. John here with Halcyon 250 number 1148 Casimir. Nice. In sunny SoCal. Nice. Having some coffee today. It's a little late for coffee. It's what, 3 o'clock? Yeah, a little pick me up in SoCal. I respect it. I respect it.
There's nothing wrong with a good coffee after dinner either.
That's true. That's a bold move though. Caffeine after, well, shoot, I drink energy drinks at 7 o'clock. So I guess I have no room to talk. Good on you. What
else we got in there, Kevin?
Let's see. We've got John Straw
Dog. Halcyon 769 250 here in New Hampshire, dressed up with new tires, sprocket, and chain just this past weekend. He's sipping on a Liar's Bench barley wine. Barley wine. Gary, hello from Eagle Mountain, Utah. I'll not be able to join live today. Spending quality time with grandkids. I will watch later. Well, hello, future Gary. Yeah, it's good to see you check in. That's some dedication. He has to still sign in.
Really is. He said, hey, guys, just so you know, I'm still here. I'm still alive.
I know what's going on.
I'm locked in. Who else? Hello, everyone from Panama City, Florida. Enjoying
it's Fernando.
Weather riding. Halcyon 1155. Good to see you.
Texas Rebel Tracy. Texas Hill Country, 98 Ducati Monster 900, which is a bike that I'm actually recently getting more and more interested in. Ducati Monster. They really are cool bikes.
They're sharp looking.
Yeah. And also just the story of the kind of saved Ducati. In a lot of ways, like that model. Yeah. Very cool. 22-year-old gear up, 22 Yamaha TW200, nice. And soon, I'm told, Halcyon 250 number 1175, sipping on Dr. Pepper Zero. That is a very varied stable of motorcycles.
You've got everything you could ever dream of. Something just fell off the desk, and I'm not sure what it was.
I was kicking the cord.
Okay. I thought we lost something. Oh, boy. It's
Kelly
time.
Christmas. Let's just do it right now. Yeah.
Okay.
It's Kelly's in.
Kelly, he's drinking Orange Crush. What's up, Kelly?
Classic.
Good to see you.
Kelly sent in a little letter.
Someone's got a letter.
Yeah, I got a gift. So he asked that we open this on the Ramblestream. So this one's for you. It says, open during Ramblestream. So we're going to go ahead and do that. See what he sent us.
Very curious. I'm kind of scared. A little bit. Too. Here we go.
What we got, Kelly? The review.
Leather.
Leather? It looks like it's like sort of like leather here.
Sort of like leather.
This looks like maybe leather.
Ooh.
Oh, we got a little stainless steel multi-tool. Looks like maybe like credit card size.
Yeah.
Goes in your wallet. It's got a sharp edge on there. You could do some damage with that.
A little scraping.
And then you've got, it looks like a series of different socket.
Oh, nice.
Sizes. A saw. Maybe saw the table.
Wow. You definitely can.
Yeah. And then, a couple of a bottle opener. There we go.
Very important.
Oh, a can opener too. That's a can opener there.
You want to?
Oh, yeah. I'll put it over the white. So, can opener, bottle opener, knife, ruler, and a saw, some other pieces that I will figure out later.
Well, it might say here. Oh, look here. We'll read the instructions. Can opener, knife edge, screwdriver, ruler, cap opener, 4-position wrench for various size nuts and bolt head.
Great.
Butterfly wrench, saw blade, Direction.
It must be the circle.
Well, yeah, I guess. 2-position wrench and a lanyard hole or a keyring hole. Just in case,
You want a sharp blade swinging around.
Right around your neck. It's perfect.
Kelly, thank you. This is definitely a thing.
That is very cool.
Very cool. It's a nice little case. Very cool. Send all your gifts to me. just keep on mailing them to me. It's great.
Just one at a time.
Or maybe 3 at a time. It's fine.
4, 5, 6.
So that's awesome. Thanks, Kelly. Much appreciated.
Very cool.
Hope you're enjoying your Orange Crush. Let's just go ahead and go right straight from Orange Crush to what we're sipping on this evening.
Let's go for it.
As you can see, if you're new to the Ramblestream, which I think there's some names in there I don't recognize yet, people like to kind of sign in and tell us where you're viewing from, what you ramble with. So if it's a motorcycle, tell us what model. If you ride a Ducati Monster, tell us what it is. If you ride a Janus, tell us the model and the serial number. And the last but not least, tell us what you're sipping on. So I'm going to go ahead and make my introduction.
No more.
What?
No more carbonated water.
No more lightly water.
Lemon squeezed next to it water.
Yeah. My name is Richard Worsham, co-founder and designer here at Janus. I'm broadcasting from the Centro Stile at the TT Fabrication Shop here in Goshen, Indiana. And I ride a 2009 KLR 650 and a 2018, I think, Halcyon 250 in cream with gold pinstripe and some massive metal panniers that rattle around on the back from when I did longer trips.
That's
and they're
very
handy. They're very handy, but they're not like. It's kind of funny that I designed the Halcyon and with these beautiful leather
instantly
bags,
put other
giant metal panniers on it. I think it kind of has a neat aesthetic. I like it.
They're very contrasting to the bike itself.
Covered with stickers. And this evening I am sipping on.
This is not an ad. This is not sponsored.
We're not sponsored, but this is one of my favorite bourbons, Woodford Reserve.
Just a nice staple.
And it just so happened that Jansen didn't bring a drink tonight, so you get some Woodford Reserve too. So I'm sorry, I stole your.
It's okay.
Stole your beverage.
It's okay. I'm here for it. My name's Jansen. Also streaming live from TT in the paint booth / rocket ship /
International Space
Station / whatever you want to call it. Also drinking some Woodford Reserve. Nice and smooth going down.
With a little branch water in it too.
Just a little bit. Because I
can't. What do you ramble with?
Can't do the full on. Soon to be Griffin 450 number 5. Still not named.
Not named.
And the only
you can't
time
really name it. I mean, I guess you could before, but you kind of meet it. It's
with
like
anticipation.
A kid, right?
Yeah, I get. People name their kids before they meet them all the time.
Oh, that's not me. I think my first went a couple of days without a name before we figured it out.
That's funny. Yeah, we were the opposite. We knew exactly what their names were going to be before they even got here.
Good.
Barb says hi from Oregon, sipping on some water with Garage Buddies Halcyon 450 number 278 and 2028 Harley Davidson Heritage Classic named Spruce Goose. Isn't that a plane?
It is. Yeah, wasn't that what's his name?
Yeah,
Howard. The big,
huge.
Massive.
Water landing.
That's right.
I don't know who made it. Paul Ramon, south of Indy, former Rambler, Halcyon 250, number 542. Waiting on delivery of Halcyon 450, number 405, sipping on Gatorade while mowing.
It's springtime, folks.
I can't walk in a straight line while I'm drinking a glass of water. So I'm impressed that you can cut the grass while watching a stream.
Well, I did go out last weekend and sharpen my lawnmower blades.
Ooh.
So that was the first time. I did not mow anything yet, but
'tis the season.
I'm prepared.
I'm just looking at all the nice onion grass growing in my backyard. It's wonderful. So beautiful. It's Howard Hughes.
I knew it was Howard something, yeah.
Brother just called. Going fishing tomorrow, so I won't be on the bike. Why not take the bike?
To go fishing?
To go fishing.
There we go.
That could be fun. John, I think we missed your comment. What do you ride? Do you have a Halcyon? Do you have a Griffin? Do you have just a motorcycle? What do you ramble on? I'm very curious. Very curious. Next up, though, while we're waiting on that, we've got some builds of the week. Now, this is not all of the builds. This is 3 of the featured builds brought to you
by Mitch McLean.
The one, the only Mitch McLean. First up here, we've got John. It's a Halcyon 450. It's number 370, and it's going to North Carolina. And I'm checking the stream here, and I am sharing the correct page.
Great.
Thank goodness.
We learn from our mistakes.
You know, one step at a time.
All right, so we got a 450 on the. This is the most northerly build stand in the assembly bay next to the window.
This is the most aesthetically pleasing one because it's right up against a window.
Yep.
As shown in that picture.
Mm-hmm. So we've got a black frame. This is either a black motorcycle or it's color matched or it's not a color matched frame.
I haven't looked through these yet. I'm gonna guess.
I'm gonna guess it's got a different color.
Cream.
Cream? Okay. All right.
Swing arm.
Rear swing arm, transom, the oil tank going on there.
Oh,
ooh, there we go. So we got Oxblood Sergeant seat here going on. Whatever it is, it's got to go well with the Oxblood.
I don't know if cream goes well with Oxblood.
Oh, it does. Yeah, you got to get it with like vintage red pinstripe.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Not cream.
So we have, this is Inland Sea Green, named after our own inland sea, Lake Michigan.
Ooh, with the
vintage red pinstripe.
Wow.
Nice. Very nice. Airbox on there. He's got the incandescent headlight. And we've got a secondary pinstripe in copper with the matching feather logo in copper. Beautiful. All right. Oh, there we go. Okay. So this is the skirted fenders in the contrasting color cream. So you were kind of right, Jansen.
I was 10% right. Mitch wanted me to note that if you guys want to build something like this on the configurator online, you're not going to be able to do it. However, you can give Mitch a call and he can.
So we can't do two-tone skirts?
Not on the configurator, no.
Okay. Well, we'll get there.
It's a little special order. You know, you got to go through the process. You know, if you want something cool.
I know a guy you can talk to.
Yeah, we know a guy. If you need his number, let us know. Gosh, every time I see these skirted fenders,
and really it's pretty classic, the inland sea green with the cream. I mean, it's really good looking. And I should mention that the skirted fenders do have a little bit of a ducktail to them. That's just the way they come. We don't offer a ducktail. They all have a little swoop at the back like that.
Very cool.
It's really nice.
That's a good looking motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we've got Michael, also Halcyon 450. He is
number 371.
Yeah, it's going to Washington.
Yep. Wah. All right.
Kind of
on the stand. Got some.
Look at that cream. What is that?
It's a
cream 450 in the back there.
450, yeah, in the back. Sorry, we're not looking at the right bike.
Wrong bike. Which caught my eye.
Very nice. Coming together. Swing arm. Oil lines are starting to come together. Oil tanks on.
Those oil lines, do we make those?
Yes,
in-house?
Beautiful. If you haven't looked at your oil lines, check them out. Those are handmade, hand-fitted to your bike. Beautiful. And they have each oil line is not just metal. I mean, it is a metal oil line, brazed, but then in the middle it has this rubber section that allows for vibration.
So good.
Pretty cool.
So good.
These are standard fenders. They're neither ducktail. I can't actually tell if that's ducktail or not.
Let's see if we've got any more pictures. A little headlight visor action.
Obviously, we have a cream. These are ducktails. These are cream. This is our Aga cream with single copper pinstripe ducktails. Beautiful. There's the ducktail.
That's a good picture of it.
And the copper pinstripe.
Airbox anatomy.
Yeah, Mitch really likes the inside of the airbox.
In his defense, he just sends me the whole album.
Oh, the whole album.
And we just go through it. You know, it's kind of fun to look at the process.
The rear wheel so he's got a matching copper feather logo with the copper pinstripe. So very simple. I mean, and I can never make my mind up, but I often say single pinstripe actually might be my favorite.
I think it gets a little too busy, especially with the feather logo.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I like the two-tone, and it adds like so many different variations, but I do like the simple single pinstripe. We got, there it is. Great bike. What that's a saddle brown leather, right?
Yes,
it
is.
Makes sense with the copper.
Yeah, that's a good looking bike.
Beautiful.
And last but not least of our featured builds of the week, this is Jeremy with a Griffin 250.
Griffin. Nice.
Number 167, and it's going very close to Michigan. This one, I did peek at this one. This one's nice.
Ooh. Oh, I've seen this one. Yeah.
What color is that?
It is Bengal silver. And so the way that we do the Bengal silver, I think there are other options out there, but it's actually a metallic flake in it.
Mm.
And so it requires a clear coat. It's a more expensive paint for us to do. It's an upgrade, but the finish has a clear over the silver, but it's like really shiny.
So it probably looks like there's probably a lot of
little more depth to it.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's a lot of depth on this one because he opted for what color pinstripe on
silver
on silver. So it really gives it this kind of depth. Really neat.
Gosh, that's
the
cool.
pinstripe goes on top of the clear.
Right. That's really cool.
Very nice. Luggage rack on there. There's your 250 engine. Headlight visor with incandescent headlight. Oh, what is this? This is a 450. 450 picture got in there.
Couple. Oh,
now we're back.
Don't mind those. Those just a little intermission.
And he went with the old-fashioned standard Janus logo, which I like, because I designed it. I mean, I've used
I feel like you designed the whole bike. Gosh, that's the last picture there. I think nice. We're still finishing it up.
Still finishing that one up.
Good grief. Cool. I love that color combo. It's
super very sharp. And it's caught a lot of eyes in the shop.
Yeah. I mean, how could it not when it's that shiny and silver and man.
Some good builds coming out this week.
Todd from Wisconsin, Halcyon number 1163, sipping straight up reverse osmosis filtered water out of a mason jar. That feels like an oxymoron saying it.
Why?
When I think of a mason jar, I think of I just canned some green beans.
That's class. I mean, it's pretty pure.
That's fair. Simtech says the finish is top notch, better than the original in my opinion. He's talking about the fuel caps that he just got in.
Oh, cool.
Oh, the fuel caps. Cool.
Yeah, we have had probably some of y'all know we've had a major slowdown with our fuel caps. Our supplier, the way we were doing it, we've kind of changed, and I think it's a major improvement. But they are moving now. So if you have had one on order and you've been waiting, it should be showing up sooner than later.
Grant is very pleased to have them here as well. Very pleased. I can only imagine. Richard, you have a lot of things on our table here.
Yeah, I do. It's going to be hard to kind of how we're going to talk about this, but let's see. Maybe we'll go a little longer on the things, but and I'll try and move quickly.
Okay.
I'll try and not step on the cord again. So we're talking about navigation. We're talking about GPSs. We're talking about maps. So obviously, I have a even in the big camera, you can see that this is a map. But I went around today as an experiment and went to some gas stations and I asked if they had maps for sale. I went to like 4 gas stations.
Wow!
And not a single gas station even had a map, like a atlas you could buy.
Huh.
And like this is from like the cheap gas stations to like nicer ones with fancier swim. Now I don't know if maybe I go up to near the toll road of like an interstate. There might be one with it.
Yeah, the interstate or one of those like little stopping rest areas.
It used to be that you could find the maps in like every gas station. Yeah. And this is true even when I went out to California last year. I ended up ordering the map on Amazon because I could only find a really decent map there. Huh. And then it turned out that it wasn't even a decent map. It was it was just one scale and there was no detail.
I was about to ask what makes a decent map.
Well, I mean, for me, a decent map is one that has enough detail that you can find smaller, alternative routes. Especially like, let's just say if you're on for a rambler, let's say a map that would be suitable would be one that has alternative routes as well. And you can find your way. Whereas the maps that I've been finding lately they have the interstate and then they have like maybe some lines and that's it.
Well, what more do you need, Richard?
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'm just getting this so I can hang it in my office, okay?
Right. Well, I don't know. It's just basically pointing to the fact that no one is using maps.
Yeah.
They're all using their smartphone. So we'll talk more about why a map might be a better option, or maybe the steps in between it in a ramble. But I haven't actually decided which thing I'm going to talk about. Let's talk about a compass first. So this is a what do we call this? Like a mirror compass. So it has, this is designed for orienteering. So if you're really getting into like bushwhacking, like you're out in the middle of nowhere and you need to find yourself, go from one point to another. I got this compass when I was in the Boy Scouts, like 25 years ago or more.
Wow.
This is a Santo.
Richard, I'm 29. I just want to say that.
Well, you're younger than me.
That's all I'll say.
This is I think Santo is a Swedish brand, but it's a great compass. It has a rotating bezel, so you can actually you can set different courses. I've done some orienteering competitions back in when I was doing more like Boy Scouting, and then in like recent years, my daughters and I have gone out and we've kind of like played around with being able to find a bearing and follow it. And
you put a blindfold around one of your daughters. You drive your car into the middle of the wilderness, spin them around 10 times, and say, "All right, find your way back home."
Right. So this is like this is a more extreme example of what you would use to navigate. And if you have a good map with landmarks, you don't actually need a compass because you can locate where you are on the map.
What if you just look for rocks with moss growing on one side?
That's also, you could look at the stars. There's a lot of that's a good thing. That's an old compass that I've used for many years. And then another fun thing. What's a compass?
Spencer Anderson says the mirror doesn't help you figure out where you are, but it shows you who's lost.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm not going to go into like the details of how that works, but it provides a way for you to make take a bearing and see the exact place where you are going to be going on that line.
Oh, interesting.
So the mirror shows you the compass and what bearing you're at.
Interesting.
And then there's a little notch on it stops at a certain angle. So it stops at this angle. So then when you line it with where you set where you are, what the bearing is, you line it up and then you have the needle line up and then there's a little slot in the top and then you can see where you're going.
That's really interesting.
You can pick a landmark and go from there. There's also lensatic. There's different kinds of compasses that use like different means of doing that. Anyway, the next thing, this is I doubt that I will ever use it. Maybe when I get old and blind, but it's just really, really cool. My parents got me this a number of years ago, but it's just kind of it's a really fun thing. Trinket.
That looks very very cool.
I don't know if y'all can see if I can hold it up here. But it's basically a magnifying glass on 3 legs, and it's designed after like a 19th century design that you put on a map, and then you can spin it, and it magnifies whatever's underneath it and blows up the scale.
That is very cool.
If you have a high detailed map, which I can't find, then you can actually zoom in on it and read better or whatever. Maybe when I get old, it doesn't have like a lot of magnification. So I can typically read the map just as well as my naked eye, but it's really cool. It's brass. And
it comes in a nice little box
wooden
too.
Box,
with little brass inlays. That's pretty cool. That would be,
it's really fun. Yeah, I enjoy playing with it. So.
It's a nice little fidget.
Yeah. Those are 2 things. We're going to talk a little bit more about some other. We're going to talk about the breadth of from very rudimentary analog navigation through to more GPS, high tech, modern navigation.
Nice. So. That's great. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I think I am going to be going into that conversation more of a as a devil's advocate.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that I enjoy. I understand and enjoy the art of maps, if you will.
Yeah.
But as for the use of them in today's age, I'm not entirely sure, like if they're even required.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Fernando says, my riding is limited to local roads only, so there's no need for GPS. But as I get more and more comfortable and my skills improve, I can see the possibility of using a GPS.
Mm-hmm.
I think oftentimes you quickly go to like phones.
Yeah, phones are a great
as
option.
a GPS, right? But
they are a GPS. Yeah,
there are more minimal options, I think, out there that are pretty cool as well.
Yep.
What do we got going on here at Janus, Richard?
At Janus, the main thing that I have yet to actually make a blog post about, but we've had a lot of people sign up for it, is that we are, as I mentioned in the last Ramblestream, we are hosting our own Distinguished Gentleman's Ride May 18th, so less than a month away, and we've set a lofty goal for that. I need to post more about it. So it has been an extremely busy week.
What's the goal?
The goal last year was 10,000, and we made it. So I think I'm going to try and do the same thing.
Yeah.
It sounds always kind of scares me to say that much money, but
12,500.
That would be a good option too. I mean, it just seems like a lot of money. But anyway, we are raising Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. For those who don't know, is first of all, it's just a fun event. Mm-hmm. It's a chance to dress up in your dapper clothes and ride your motorcycle. There are rides that happen in every major city around the world. It's been going on since 2014, and the extra benefit of it is that it's the whole thing is a fundraiser for men's health. Suicide prevention, prostate cancer research. It's just a pretty incredible cause, and they've raised millions and millions of dollars, and it's all built around a really fun event.
That's so cool.
And so the whole point is to get out and show people, motorcyclists riding classic styled motorcycles, wearing their finest. And so we're going to be hosting our own ride. If you're in a city not near Goshen, you can still participate in your local city's ride. Or if you don't even have a city near you and you want to just go ride on May 18th, Sunday morning, you can do that too. And you can still be part of the Janus Motorcycles team. And I'll be posting more on that. I swear, I keep saying it, but I've got to sit down at my desk and not do other work so that I can post our team info.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing that. Look for an email. We'll be sending out emails about it and blog posts soon. And so that's May 18th. We're really gearing up for that.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Griffin 450s are hitting the build stands this week. We're working on number 2. Number 3 is going to be right after it. Number 4, and then number 5.
And then number 5.
So we'll be ripping through these, and I will have more updates for you. I know that a lot of Griffin 450 owners have been extremely patient. They've been waiting over a year for their bike, and we are very happy to be preparing to deliver your bike. So congrats, and thank you.
I bought one without riding one, and then I rode one for the first time on Friday, and oh boy, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and if you've test ridden one last year, it's a lot better.
The thing kind of rips.
Yeah, they're really fun.
They're really super fun. I see Drake B asked a great question, but I think Kelly beat us to it. He asked, "Do we need to be on a Janus to join the Gentleman's Ride?"
Not at all. The requirements for the DGR are that you're supposed to be riding a classic styled motorcycle, and they have guidelines on their website. Look up Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. I've never seen anyone turned away.
No.
And I've seen some pretty wacky like modern sport bikes. But the goal is that you want to ride like a traditional motorcycle. So a Janus motorcycle is literally like a golden ticket to definitely be allowed in, because our bikes are even more classic looking than a Triumph or a Row Enfield, if you ask my opinion.
I may or may not have taken my XSR 900 and I got let in. So, I mean, it's retro styled, but very far from a retro motorcycle. So yeah, you can ride whatever the heck you want, preferably a classic motorcycle, and double preferably a Janus motorcycle. Yeah. But to each their own. Everyone's got their own flavor. I think we should start the ramble.
Okay, let's do it.
I think I'm very curious about your takes on
Yeah, absolutely.
On maps in general, and if they're more than just an archaic like identifier of the past and how we used to navigate.
Well, I think it's really important to say that ramblers like to be prepared. Being prepared isn't just something you do because you're a Boy Scout or because you're like a rule follower or something like that. Being prepared means that you can rely on yourself no matter what happens. You're going to give yourself the best chance to do whatever you want to do on your own without calling on people to help you out. And so I think it's really important to remember how fragile our whole world that we live in actually is. And that includes cell phone towers, power grids, GPS. All these things are held together with a very, very, very fragile system. And if we think about this, I mean, people are starting to around the shop laugh because I always come back to sailing and boats. But can you imagine setting sail in a small boat to go, like, let's say crossing the Atlantic Ocean, and you have an iPad with your satellite navigation running on it, and then you just leave with that, and then in the middle, like you take a big wave and the boat gets knocked over. Doesn't everything's fine? You come back up, but in the process, your iPad manages to fly across the boat and smashes into some sort of hard object. Power grid didn't go down, but you're still out of luck.
In the middle of the
ocean.
In
the middle of the ocean, and you have no idea how to. So sailors have a expression or just a rule that you always have duplicate systems,
like redundancies.
That's the word I'm looking for. Redundant systems, and on top of that, you always need to know how to navigate with a map and compass and by the star, and really with a sextant. You should have be able to navigate by the stars. So if you're out by, I mean, there's just no question. Things can happen, and the same thing I think is true of if you're as a rambler, you want to be able to have the ability, maybe even, and that's another thing is it's just practicing the ability to be able to get from point to A to point B if you have to, without this super, super fragile system that basically makes your brain shut off. I mean, it's literally telling you where to go and what to do and how fast to go. It's it's taken all of your agency away. I mean, I don't like that.
My car just hit a
and your car actually drives itself too.
It does it by itself. So I feel like I'm in a perfect position to fight for the argument for, well, yes, maybe if GPS goes down, I'm probably staying home anyway.
Right. I mean, there's certainly that argument, and but for me, I think a lot of people, there's a lot of enjoyment in learning those skills and practicing them because it's a way that you let's even put prepping and being some kind of doomsdayer aside.
Right.
It's really fun, and it's a way to develop yourself.
It's kind of challenging. It's a good challenge.
It's a challenge. So that's I just believe that if there's a baseline, now we can talk about some practical things.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried
the answer's probably no, but
go
ahead.
A route over even just 1 day motorcycle route in a new area on GPS?
No, because I just put in the destination.
Right, but if you want to hit some things and you maybe you're planning on the fly where you want to go, you have to zoom in and zoom out, and it's just this. You can't get a big picture of where you're going, and this is, I know this is not just me. This is a universal issue that we really have not solved with navigation. You want to plan out a route, and or even if it's a spontaneous thing where the plan changes. There's no better way to visualize a route than a full-scale map. Not full-scale, a large format map that then you can go, okay, we're going to go here, and then you can talk to your riding buddies, and you can draw a line on it, and you can say, you can all look at it and go, well, that's over there, and that's about this far, and you can't on your phone. or on a little Garmin GPS, it's very, very difficult. And it's very frustrating, especially like if you're under a high stress environment, like you're doing an Iron Butt 1000.
Gosh.
I've run into this where it's like, you can't get the device to move fast enough, and you just want to use a map, and which totally, I mean, you still have to be paying attention to make the turn at the right time. If you're not paying attention, but I've found the more I use a GPS, the more my brain actually just totally shuts down, and I'm not paying. Whereas if you're used to using a map, you're constantly being alert to where that sign is, and you're looking for things. And it makes you like actually enjoy the experience more.
Yeah,
it's rambling, man.
I definitely would agree that the using maps and using older ways of navigation definitely make you more conscious of your environment and what you're doing in the moment. But I think this is just a me thing, right? But if I'm going to go on some trip and I want to do something spontaneous, I usually don't even pull up a map. I just like, if I see a road sign that says like, oh, so-and-so national park, to like left 10 miles. I'm like, all right, just going to turn down it. And yeah, my phone like tries to redirect or whatever, but I just keep going until I like find where I want to go. And it's like, okay, this is cool. But
that's like a different level of like spontaneity, which is great. But oftentimes you have like an objective that you want to get to. And that's where it's helpful to have some way of knowing where you're going and then figuring out how to get there, as opposed to just kind of stumbling down the road, which is also a really great way to ramble. I mean, absolutely. But I think that the difference is that it goes back to what we've talked about many times on the Ramblestream. Ramblers are looking to enjoy the journey. Zoomers, or whatever you want to call people that, you know, they want to get to the destination. They don't really care. They just want to get there in the most efficient way possible. Maybe they want to see some. They're like, oh, let's like avoid highways. Yeah. Or maybe that's what. But have you ever done that? Have you ever actually? Like, people don't really do that very often. They're usually just like, I want to get there fast.
Yeah. Right.
So maps are on one end of the spectrum, and like a full-on GPS might be on the other end of the spectrum. So I've got a little bit of everything here. So we got our map. This is the best map I could find because I couldn't find a map with any real detail. Here's one.
Is this one that you just have at
This
home?
is one that I've used. This is Niantic, Connecticut, which we sailed a couple of years ago from here down to Essex. So there's a couple of maps you have to get to do that. If you want to have enough detail, you can get a large nautical charts are so wonderful because they have so much detail. And so you can get like a large scale of the whole Long Island Sound, or you can get details of different ports. Nice. Like this is a map that they hand out at Sturgis for free. And this is a good example of a map that does have the detail you want to have because it's designed for motorcyclists and they want to explore the Black Hills. This is a fun one. Good example. But then on the other end of the spectrum, you have something like Garmin GPS. This is the little Zumo Garmin I got a couple of years back. You can actually battery power, but you can also plug it onto your battery. Turn this thing on and you plug in, the little pink line, and it tells you exactly where to go. It'll even pull up the weather conditions along the way if you've got it connected to your phone. They'll tell you all kinds of information, like how much gas, if you program in your gas stops.
That's crazy.
Like if you're on a Halcyon 250 and it doesn't have a fuel gauge, it's really handy. I've used this on a lot of Iron Butt rides. It has resulted in some frustration and confusion along the way because of that scale problem. That's one. But then there's another option, which provides a sort of middle ground. And I think you've probably heard us talk about this before. This is, let's see if I can turn it on here. This is the Beeline. And the reason that, I don't know if y'all, let's see if you can see that guy here. Got a cool little screen with a little motorcycle.
That's cool. Yeah.
Rotates back and forth. But this is a navigation aid that it really fascinated me because it kind of bridges the gap between a full-on GPS and the ability to just ride and not be distracted. So the way this works is it has a phone app. So we're going to do a video on this too soon.
Great.
But if I were to, let me get that right app up. The other thing is, if you've ever used your phone GPS, like, Google Maps, you'll notice that it uses a lot of your battery power, like a ton.
Yeah.
So if you're riding your bike for a full day's ride, you're probably going to run out of power
very
quickly. which is a big problem. This one uses minimal battery power, and this thing has a 14-hour battery life.
Oh wow,
running.
Nice.
So I've got, let's see here. I've got I can turn my YouTube video off here. I've got the Janus motorcycle shop plugged in. I hit go. Oh, man, I'm updating the software. See, this is why I hate. Look what I just did.
Man.
So this is a great example.
You set it up.
I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of trying to navigate, and then it updates the software.
He did it on purpose. It was a setup this whole time.
You know what? Just throw it away. Get a decent map, and it doesn't have to have a software update.
So, Richard, you're talking about being able to find maps at gas stations, not being able to find a decently detailed map. Do you know of any places where, say, if you were planning a route, like where can you get good maps?
Yeah, you can get like an atlas, which I would recommend, like a Rand McNally. They're still pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, to be honest, they aren't as good as they were. They do not have as much detail, but they're pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just challenging.
Right.
But you order one of those, you can get one with like all 50 states, or you can get one with just a certain area. And that's what I would recommend doing, is like getting one that maybe for your one state you're in.
Yeah.
And then you can actually just pull. They're usually ring bound. Get the ring bound ones. You can pull that page out and use that map, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I have a leather or a sheepskin seat cover, and I like to fold up a map and just put it underneath the seat, and then you can just whip it out when you stop, and there you go, and you pop it back in again.
That's great. John Stradog says the state's welcome centers have them.
That's good.
Which is cool.
Here we go. We got it plugged in. I hit go, and look at this. You can see it doesn't give you a ton of information. It just tells you what the next turn is.
What if I told you that my car has the same feature if wanted?
Oh, I'm sure it does. It probably also like massages your
No, it doesn't. That would be really nice, but it doesn't do that, unfortunately.
This is for this is the reason this is a nice option. It's just better than having Google Maps up on your and it's just really simple. Now, it also, the reason I first found this is that it has another mode, which is just an arrow.
Oh, nice.
And that arrow just tells you what the next turn is and how far it is to the turn.
That's
There's not even a map.
That's great.
And there's another mode that's just an arrow that tells you what direction you're supposed to be going in, and not what turn to take. I'm not sure that one's quite as practical.
That sounds like a lot of missed turns.
But I mean, to be fair, I think this is a good option. This is sort of what do they call this? The techno critic or the techno skeptic.
Okay.
Is the term there, because you have like technophiles, and then you have like technophobes or like Luddites, like probably what I am more of.
Right.
But then you have this kind of middle ground of people that are trying to like find ways to
the
creatively use the new technology.
Right.
And this kind of is in that middle ground. But I guess I would say that I'm going to be my own I'm going to argue against myself and say, you get dropped down in a new place. Like I happened to me this last fall. Went down when I was down visiting Orange County Choppers in Florida, in this massive city in Florida, which I think seems like all of Florida is.
Yeah.
And there was no way I could find my way to do anything. And so I ended up using my phone. It was really clunky, and I used a lot of battery power. This would have been perfect.
Yeah.
In some ways, there's almost no way to not use, like the way the road is designed and the way the signage on the road is. They don't even have signs that tell you to turn anymore, because everyone's using their phone for everything. So it's almost made it impossible to exist without it. Now that said, when I did the trip out in California, I used a paper map the whole time, just as like an adventure and a test, and it worked fine. The only problem was the map didn't have as much detail as I wanted. So when I went on those like little side adventures up and above Santa Barbara, and I had to basically wing it.
Which is kind of some joy and some fun.
Yeah, but if you have an objective and you have a timeline, like sometimes you have or maybe there's going to be rain coming, and you got to be planning. You're out there. You've got something to do. It's frustrating because you need to be able to plan for it.
Right. What happens when you want to find the nearest McDonald's to get some French fries and a large Coke, Richard? I mean, you can't find that on a detailed map.
Yeah, you can't.
I don't know.
Probably better off.
I think I think the opposite of you here in this, and like I do see the art of reading a map as important, but mostly from a, hey, check this out, look what I can do.
Like an archaic.
Hey man, if the world goes to crap real fast, like
I'm
your guy.
No. I see you. Yeah.
I'll be dead.
Oh, yeah.
This guy can navigate wherever he wants, right? So like I don't know. I think the world, as you're speaking to, is kind of set up now for the fact that we have this technology that can tell us where to go and when to go. Does it take away some of our agency? Yeah. But do we have to do every single thing that stupid little blue line says we have to do? Absolutely not.
And also, like, that's just a way. It seems like technology has been going for the last couple of millennia.
Yeah.
It just gets more and more reduced, and like our ability to choose every single path seems like it gets more and more reduced. And then of course, but simultaneously, our ability to like control the world increases.
Right.
So yeah, it's a good question. I think that there's probably a middle ground in there, but
and
the ability to read
looks like this.
The ability to read a map. And in some ways, this is kind of a gimmick because most people are using their phone.
Yeah, right.
And it's perfectly practical. Like if you're a motorcyclist and you like don't want to spend a whole lot of money on like this is like, I don't know, it's over $200.
Yeah,
beautifully made. It's solid aluminum. Just we sell them. You can buy a Beeline is what it's called. If I haven't said that already.
JanusMotorcycles.com.
Yeah, they're wonderful things. But like most people nowadays have a smartphone.
Right.
I have a smartphone. I tried for many years not to.
You need a smartphone.
It already
to
has
operate this.
You even need a smartphone to operate that. Yeah, there you go. So like it's already something you have in your pocket.
Right.
It works well. You can buy like a cheap little mount for your or like you can like what I used to do before I got this is I have a Bluetooth headphones in my helmet, right?
Technology.
And I would just put it in my pocket and it would tell me where to go.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not above it, but it does sort of, to me, it reduces the experience.
That's fair.
It takes away from the enjoyment. And so I'm excited to use it more. So, hey, what are people thinking? What are people thinking about this?
I was pulling up. Everyone's given their map options here.
Good.
Carson says, for some serious trekking, Avenza is a great app. It works using a topo map overlay, great for exploring.
Okay.
And then he pointed to the type of map, I think, within the app, which is interesting. I think pilots do this, where they have the FAA releases, standardized maps of places, especially airports with different, what do you call it, airspaces and what zones they're in or whatnot. And when you look at pilots, they no longer have like giant maps, right? But they do have iPads that have the apps on them. So I think that there's this blend, like you were saying, of how can we take the experience of having a map, and I'm sure there are tons of apps out there, map apps out there that provide this experience, but how do you take this technology and blend it with the experience of rambling? And I think there's something there for sure, and I'm sure it's already been made. But it's always interesting to me to see the progression of technology and how oftentimes it does take away our agency.
I mean, let's just talk about it on a practical level too. Like, yes, all that's true. I really think that they have not solved the problem of how you read the thing, like the scale problem, and the size of the screen and the way that you can't get context and you can't see distance. You can't intuit quickly the distance. It's really...
You need one of these.
Yeah, you need one of those.
But for your phone.
No. I'm saying like the fact that a map is big is that we have not solved that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can get a giant iPad maybe.
Right.
But or we can have workarounds for it. But there
zooming
are real
in,
reasons. When you zoom in, it's like
zooming out, like to get context. It just feels clunky, I will say.
Yeah.
But there's never again, I've never been in the experience when I've been like, I must gain context to see where I'm going here. Like I've never had that experience. I think it's because I don't often. I don't ever use a map. Right. Like I think that's just kind of.
It's fun to think about sometimes just how quickly this technology like GPS has overtaken us. Like I mean, it's not probably in your memory.
Yeah.
But I'm not that much older than you.
Mhm.
I mean, probably
10 years, maybe
a little more. But like when I was a kid, that's the only way. And then there was this whole thing like MapQuest.
MapQuest. I do remember MapQuest.
Yeah, you remember MapQuest? Like that existed for a while, and people what they would do is they print. Like I'm sure everyone here remembers it, but like
I've got a
you
store
print out. I've tried doing this too, just for fun. Like you print out the Google because I gave up my smartphone for like 5 years. This is right in the middle of Janus. I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going back to basics.
Yes.
So I would print off Google Map directions. And it's like, that doesn't work at all because they're not designed to work that way. Like MapQuest. And then you'd have to know how far to go and then turn at the sign. And that's when I realized that the roads are no longer signed to the point where you can actually do that. Like the roads now are missing information.
Yes.
Because of the fact that everybody's
because
using
your phone's
GPS.
got it.
Yeah.
I have a story about
crazy.
MapQuest. I was, this was maybe, 8 years ago. I was in Northern Indiana I got a little like part-time gig working for a realtor, putting out signs and removing signs. So I would get a list every single day of houses that I needed to go to put either for sale signs out or to pull the for sale signs or pending signs out. And I kid you not, I wasted more of their money because I was paid hourly. I wasted more of their money trying to follow these stupid MapQuest instructions than they could have bought me a phone and put just GPS on it and they would have made out because I spent so much time. And maybe this is a fault of my own, not being able to, keep track of where I'm at. But I was lost regularly. Well,
I think actually people were also just lost more.
That's fair. That's an interesting thought.
I mean, I think that there was just like when you planned a trip, and maybe like if you think about it, like people were maybe less adventurous in terms of going on these little tiny side roads than they are now with GPS, because GPS does give you this ability to really feel confident in exploring little things. So I mean, I'll give it that.
I'm reading.
Read some good comments here.
Referee says my police department does not allow new trainees to use GPS at first because they will not learn the geography of the area without using a map.
Yeah. So this brings up a really interesting point, and I've forgotten the whole details of the story, but the advent of GPS and Uber. So you think about like these modern ride sharing services and what they've done to the traditional taxi cab profession. So in London, the cabbies, they go through this process and they learn something called the knowledge. I think that's what it's called.
That's awesome.
Or maybe it's something. But anyway, but they ride. This is really cool. They ride scooters or motorcycles with a giant board on the front, or they used to, of the motorcycle, and they had a map on it. And they would ride the routes. And what they were required to do to be able to become a cabbie is they had to memorize the city of London.
Wow.
And then when somebody said, take me to blah, 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 they're like,
got it.
They just drive you there. They did no instructions. So in order to be a cabbie, they had to do that. And so can you imagine what Uber has done? And so at a point you're like, oh, what do we do? Like we defend them, we subsidize, we make it illegal you can't, maybe they have, maybe they can, maybe they can't, but it's not a permanent solution.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those interesting things where you just think about like the amount of mental depth and training that these guys would go through to be able to memorize. And this is a medieval, like pre-medieval, this is an ancient Roman city.
The knowledge.
With crazy routes through it, and they had memorized the whole thing.
That's crazy.
But they used motorcycles and scooters to memorize it.
Because it's the best way to travel.
Yeah, exactly.
Duh. Yeah, no, I think I don't think this is a ramble, but it's interesting, and I would love to talk to you more about just this idea of just because technology can progress, should it?
Yeah, well, that's a very deep question.
Right. So like I think that there's a little bit of that sprinkled in
maybe
there.
The question really is it possible for it not to?
Yeah. Not with AI now, man.
No, it's not. But it's not.
See you later.
AI is just another version of technology.
Right.
The first technology, which is probably like clothing.
Yeah.
No, I mean, think about it. It extends your ability to exist in new environments.
Right.
It expands your power.
Fire making tools.
But that's, again, it's like it kind of all comes out from like maybe putting on a fig leaf.
Right, or fig leaf.
No, a pelt.
A pelt feels a little more warm, if you ask me.
A little more protective.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then from there, it's like, do you like, you think of like the Manhattan Project?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to stop because you think it's like it's not worth doing? Well, when the Russians or the whoever else is, or the Nazis are pursuing, it's like it's a mutual
right.
You have
it's mutual evil almost at times.
Perhaps, yeah. That's I think that's a good example of like how technology there is built into it that it has to progress.
Yeah. Who has ever another Rev Free Moto comment here? Who has ever stuck a Post-it note with the route on the gas tank? I definitely have not.
But that's actually, that brings up a good point. That one of the best maps and I wish I could find it. I have it saved, but I was out in Los Angeles. We'll end it with this one.
Yeah.
I was out in Los Angeles and I went to the rock store. So if you're familiar with
the rock store, where there are cool rocks,
it's made of rock.
It's You're telling me you can't buy cool rocks at the rock store?
You can get a really not very good breakfast. No, it's a good breakfast.
Okay.
It's a great breakfast. No, the rock store is out. It's up in Cornell, California, outside of LA. If you ever are in LA on the weekend and you have a motorcycle or access to a motorcycle, you got to ride there because that's where everybody rides their motorcycle. And you get like the coolest bikes. Like Jay Leno used to show up there. I think when he was a little younger. You get like just everybody.
Yeah.
Who's anybody? Arnold Schwarzenegger used to ride a motorcycle
Keanu
up there.
Reeves.
Yeah, he does hang out there.
That's cool.
But apart from that, it's just a beautiful country and everybody's really friendly. It's like a motorcycle community event. So I rode up there and I met this really wacky photographer. Like he was like a celebrity photographer, and he showed me all the calendar, like pinup girl calendars he does with motorcycles and stuff. But he's old. He's really old, And he proceeded to tell me all the history of the rock store and of this area, which is Malibu.
Okay.
And the whole like movie tradition. I've written about it, and we did that video, Rock Store Ramble.
Okay.
And I talk about more about it. But then he proceeded to, he's like, if you want to go to this place, here, let me draw you a map.
That's crazy.
And he drew me a map of how to get to this place. He didn't even assume that I had a phone.
That's crazy.
Like it wasn't even in his like. And so the second I saw him like thinking about this, I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
This is the guy.
This is the guy. And he drew this map, and the map was not to scale, right? Because it was like out of somebody's brain.
How are you supposed to do something to scale? It's
so
crazy.
he just drew it, and then it was like a straight line, and then all the other roads coming off of it, and this is where the lake was, and Malibu, blah blah blah. And I used the map to get to where I was trying to go.
So it worked.
It worked, and then I went back and I compared it to the phone to see it, and it was like absolutely nothing like the map, but it was how you experience it as a motorcyclist.
Interesting.
That's really cool. So I saved that map, hand drawn by this guy.
That's really cool.
It's really cool.
Do you remember the photographer's name?
I just came across his business card. I could find it, but I do have his information.
That's super cool.
Really cool dude. And then that reminds me of like other maps people have drawn for me that there's so much like something about that just like it's really powerful.
It kind of goes back to our talk about like the Notebook and how that changed history forever. Is because it's someone's perspective of the world itself. Like this is how he perceived what this ride from here to here was. And you can't get that anywhere.
But that's like from the riders. That's like that actually is all that really matters if we're rambling is the experience. So yeah, really cool.
That's a great story to end on.
That is. It's 7:59. Perfect time.
Right on the dot.
All right, folks. Thank you for joining us for another Ramblestream. We'll be back, right? Yeah, we'll be back next week. Next week for Ramblestream number 80, and we'll have another great topic for you. We'll figure it out by then.
80. We'll have it soon. We'll see you then.
Bye-bye.